Welcome to another Ask Arlington. I'm Jay Warren, the city's marketing and communications manager. Now, Ask Arlington is a show dedicated to answering the questions that you have about what's happening across our city. And this week, we're going to be looking at all of your questions related to West Nile virus and chikungunya virus. And here to help us do that is Assistant Fire Chief David Stapp with the Arlington Fire Department. Chief Stapp, thanks for being with us. We really do appreciate it.
Hi, Jay. We're glad to be here.
And we have some video to show of what you guys are already doing, and you've really been proactive in addressing this issue. Recently, Chief Stapp and leaders from different city departments met to discuss plans and preparations for the mosquito season, including scheduling of surveillance and testing, as well as prevention measures. And Chief, this is something that you do every year to be ready for West Nile virus season, right?
Yes, it is. We have a team that's comprised of members from all over city departments and our public health authority, and we actually start meeting in March in preparation for the season.
Yeah. And this year, West Nile, I think, is something we're all familiar with, but we have a new virus that is on the radar here in North Texas as well. That's the chikungunya virus that I mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The good news on that is the mosquitoes in the U.S. currently, there's no known mosquitoes here that carry that virus. And everyone who has been infected with that virus has been from a bite in Central America where they're endemic.
All right. So they're not known to be in our area right now.
That is correct.
All right. Good deal. But something to keep an eye out for sure this season as well.
Yes, and if you travel to an area and you can Google and find out where they exist, we would suggest that you take steps to protect yourself when you travel also with mosquito repellent.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's get to some of our viewer questions, and we got some really good ones this week as well. Our first question actually comes to us from Amanda, and she wants to know what's the best product to keep mosquitoes away that's safe for humans and also our pets, because a lot of people worry about that as well. What's your suggestion there?
Sure. Well, as far as suggestions or recommendations on products, as a government entity, we're not allowed to recommend any.
Sure.
I would just suggest that people do an internet search, a Google search or whatever, and possibly read reviews and find out what other people's experiences have been, and then read the labels for any product that you choose to make sure that you apply it in the manner it's supposed to be applied to keep everybody safe.
And maybe is the best suggestion in this is really prevention in the first place to keep the mosquitoes from breeding at your house to begin with?
Yes, and that is the proven best strategy and the strategy that's taken throughout the U.S. to limit the spread of West Nile virus is prevention.
How do we do that at our house? I think we've got some video to show people of what it might look like if you've got mosquitoes breeding at your house, and this is what you should be on the lookout for?
Yes, sir. That's the biggest threat at your house for breeding mosquitoes is any standing water, and it's really amazing how small of an amount of water it takes. It could be underneath a flower planter, just one of those little cups that's underneath there. And so you should eliminate any standing water in around your house, which could be tires, swings, wheelbarrows, gutters where the water's standing, and where you can't eliminate it, you need to keep a close eye for what we just saw, which is if you look at the water and you see movement in the water, little wiggling things, those are larvae that, if not killed, will become mosquitoes and potential carriers of the West Nile virus.
Now, if you've got, let's say, a fountain or a bird bath at your house where you want the water to be there, what is a solution that you can do there? Donuts, is that what they're called?
Yes, well, two things. You can change the water out regularly, or they call them dunks, and here's what they look like. Okay. And they are, it's a totally organic product that is only harmful to mosquitoes. So literally you could, now I wouldn't recommend this, but you could have this in a bowl of water that your pets drink and it won't harm them. Right. It is a bacteria that will kill the mosquito larva and nothing else.
You can get this at all home improvement type stores.
Any home improvement store, they're good for up to about 30 days each. They float and they slowly dissolve, and each one of these will cover about 100 square feet of water.
That's an easy thing to do for sure.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get to our next question. It comes to us from Janine. She says, I rent an apartment and it's near a water overflow cement pipe, and the mosquitoes are horrible every year as a result of this. Is the management responsible for outdoor mosquito control? Are they?
Well, it's a good question. Now, in this case, we don't know if the property that's in question is actually belongs to the apartments.
Sure.
Assuming that it does, then their apartment management would be responsible for the maintenance of their property, just like any other issue. However, I do want to point out there's no ordinances that would require anybody to spray, but there are ordinances that require you to eliminate standing water, which serve as breeding grounds. So if this is on apartment property, the apartment management would be responsible for either eliminating the standing water or treating it to make sure that it doesn't breed mosquitoes.
Okay. Our last question comes to us, and it's related to that standing water, the issue you just mentioned. And Larry asks, while we're having all this rain, should the city start treatments on the standing water out there to maybe be more proactive once we get out of this rain pattern, which we appear to be out of the rain pattern now after what seemed like a month or so of monsoon-type weather, right? And he also asks, could we think about spraying possibly sooner? What's the answer to that?
Can we start spraying? We conduct targeted ground spraying when we have mosquitoes that test positive for West Nile virus. We have been trapping and testing mosquitoes weekly since the 1st of April in conjunction with Tarrant County Public Health. And when we get a positive mosquito in an area, that's when we spray an area around that. But as far as just going out and just spraying just to kill mosquitoes, that is not a proven effective technique for controlling West Nile virus.
Best thing people can do is one, wear mosquito spray if they're outside, right?
Yes. Actually, the best thing we can all do is prevent them from being born. Once again, the standing water, treating it. But outside of that, wearing a product, and this kind of goes back to the first question about what can we recommend. Sure. We would say in a mosquito repellent, it should contain the product DEET. And people should wear that during kind of dusk to dawn hours, which these mosquitoes that's when they're most active.
Or long pants and long sleeve shirts too, right?
And both, yeah.
All of the above.
All the
help.
above, yes.
And we really have to be proactive in our own right during this season, and particularly this year, because we're expecting it to be worse than normal this year with all the rain we've had, right?
Yes. And as far as the first part of this question about treating the standing water, what the city does, we've already been monitoring places that are known for standing water, and if mosquito larvae was witnessed in any of them, they have already been treated. Now, obviously, we stopped when it was raining because the moving water would move any larvae out. But we actually have already been larviciding pre-monsoon where we saw larvae in standing water on city property.
What if you have a house that's maybe vacant next door to you that has a swimming pool that's not been taken care of, but you can look over your fence and see, wow, there are a lot of, that has to be a breeding ground for mosquitoes.
Yes.
What do you do?
You would report that to code enforcement, and that they're members of our big West Nile virus team, and we work with them to help remedy, clean those situations up.
Very good. Well, Chief Staff, thanks for your time today and for all the work you're doing to protect Arlington this season against West Nile virus.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad you were here. That does it for us. Some great questions from you at home. We really do appreciate that as well. That's going to be this week's Ask Arlington. Tune in next time, though, when we'll answer more of your questions.